Okay, so our thanks to our partners at WCCO there in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at what is, to say the very least, a chaotic scene. Once again, it is confirmed an ICE officer now is thought to have fatally shot a woman in South Minneapolis. So a lot to break apart here. Let's go live to CBS News correspondent Shanelle Kaul. She's been watching this story just like I have been watching this. Do we know anything about the person shot or the circumstance that led up to that, now that we know confirmed fatal shooting, Shanelle?
Yeah, so let's start with the latest on what's confirmed to us. DHS, as you mentioned, Reed, is now confirming that a person was shot and killed by ICE agents today. In that same social media post, Reed, DHS also saying that ICE officers were injured and they're expected to make full recoveries. To your question about who this person was, still unclear at this point, but we know this happened in South Minneapolis at about 9:30 a.m. local time. The mayor saying this on social media. I'll just share my screen with you. It says, "I'm aware of a shooting involving an ICE agent at 34th Street in Portland. The presence of federal immigration enforcement agents is causing chaos in our city. We're demanding ICE to leave the city immediately. We stand rock solid with our immigrant and refugee communities." So here's what we understand happened and how this whole thing unfolded based on accounts from the scene, Reed. There was obviously some kind of law enforcement, ICE enforcement action that was happening in this Minneapolis neighborhood. That eventually led to a chase, and then that chase apparently is what led to this shooting. Now, a local city council member that our local CBS News affiliate had interviewed on the scene had said that they saw an ICE agent shoot at a woman resident who lived in that neighborhood. Witnesses also telling CBS News that they actually saw the chaos that unfolded in the moments after. They saw that a woman was carried out on a stretcher after people reported gunshots rang out there. Actually, a CBS News photojournalist who was on the scene said they even saw paramedics performing CPR on someone. And while this was all unfolding, you can imagine what a chaotic scene this was. So people began leaving their homes. They were outside. They began gathering. And that, Reed, eventually sort of turned into this large protest. We understand that a number of those protesters also then began throwing snowballs at federal ICE agents' vehicles that were there on the scene. And that eventually then led to clashes between protesters and police, Reed. As you've now heard as well, authorities then used tear gas or those chemical irritants to sort of get those protesters to stop and to disperse. And then about an hour after all of that had happened, Assistant Secretary Deputy of Homeland Security had sent out a social media post, which I want to share with you here. So Tricia McLaughlin sending out this very long post on social media, again, confirming here that the alleged perpetrator, she says, was hit and is deceased. The ICE officers who were hurt, she says, are expected to make full recoveries. And when I go up here, this is DHS's account of what they say happened. They say that ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when riders began blocking ICE officers, and one of those violent riders, they say, weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them. They are calling this an act of domestic terrorism. Obviously, this is their account. We'll have to really study and do more journalism to figure out whether this is, in fact, how this unfolded, because we did get various different accounts from people who were on the scene.